Hi, shalom, friends. Let me relate to you a modern fable. A young married wife is walking near the seashore. She's young and attractive and should be very happy, but her whole demeanor suggests something very, very sad that's a weight upon her. And as she's walking near the seashore, she sees a bottle that is coming in with the waves. A bottle? She opens up the bottle, and sure enough, a genie emerges. And the genie says, "Oh, beautiful lady, you just saved me, you released my spirit. I can give you a wish. What do you wish?" And she says, I don't know really what I want. So he says, "Well, tell me what's bothering you." She says, "Well, I'll tell you. We've been married 11 months. I love my husband very, very much. He is wonderful. He's attractive. He's compassionate. He has a good job. We have a busy social life. He's very good to me. But just recently, I feel I'm losing him, and I don't know why. It's not anything that I did. He just doesn't look at me the same way. He doesn't hold me the same way. He doesn't give me the same attention I used to have. And I really don't know, how can I get him back?" And the genie listens very sympathetically, and he says, "And what would you want me to do? Do you want me to change him?" She said, No, I don't want to change him. She says, "You know what I would really like? Just for 1 hour, I'd like to feel like I used to feel, the center of his universe." And the genie said, "Are you sure that's what you want?" She said, "Yes, I'm quite sure. I want to be the focus of all of his attention. I want to be held in a way that makes me feel that without me there's nothing." And the genie said, if that is your wish, I will do so for 1 hour. And he crossed his arms, and he closed his eyes, and he whispered a incantation. And in a moment, this beautiful lady turned into a cell phone. You see, she was happily married until her husband began to pay more attention to the cell phone. And isn't it weird, the way he holds the cell phone? And when he's looking at that phone, there's nothing else in existence. And I could be right next to the room, in the room, sit next to the person, but there's no attention given to me. Friends, this is a fable, but this is also, sadly, real life. There's been a lot of discussion about cell phones in terms of the family, about how family time doesn't exist anymore. Because in the rare times where the children are together, each one is still separate, each one communicating with their circle of friends and so on. But what I want to bring to your attention is a real problem, especially with younger people. Now, I have a white beard, so I'm talking about the less than 45-year-old crowd, especially the 30-year-old crowd. Let me speak as if I was an old man. Marriages are enhanced by time spent together. And you cannot compare the relationship between a newlywed and someone that's married for 5 years and 8 years and 12 years and 15 years and 30 years and so on and so forth. The longer you are together, the more you become one with one another, and the simple reality of sharing the same roof and the same bed and the same life and the same pursuits simply melds two souls into one. Now, we're quite busy in today's day and age. I'm sure it wasn't the old as well, except it wasn't 24/7 electricity. So essentially, when the lights went out, there was very little to do outside of the house, and you were forced to be in the house. But today, we have many, many pursuits outside of the house. So imagine a young man and a young woman who are dedicated to each other, and both of them have busy lives. Maybe they're a two-income earner. So they both look towards the time where they could spend together at home. And here, I'll be a bit chauvinistic and try to present it from the perspective of the woman. She works, he works, she comes home a little earlier, she wants to make a house into a home. So she'll make a dinner, or she'll just spruce up the house, or perhaps spend some time making herself a bit more attractive. Her husband's coming home, and she would like to spend some time with him. What does it mean, time with him? The knowledge that there's another human being next to me who feels that I'm the most important thing in his life. And he comes home, and there's the greeting and the hug and so on. There might be a dinner, I hope so. And then there's time, an hour, hour and a half, 2 hours. And her husband is on a phone, communicating with nobody special. And his wife is there. What's happening is that an emotional bank, which should be being filled with good memories and good times, to be pulled out in times when he's not there, is not being filled. There's no deposits being made. When I say deposits being made, I'm referring to time and affection and attention being focused on a spouse, because so much of that precious time is being squandered on the silliest of things. Of course, at this stage, she could live without it, though she misses it, and perhaps it works the other way around as well. It becomes much more important when 3-4 years down the line, where there are perhaps children in the house, perhaps the relaxed atmosphere that was once in the house is not there anymore. It's much more stressful. Maybe there's a parent who's not well. Maybe there's a business not going well. And here, the spouse has to draw on resources. How to put up with a spouse, in this case her husband, who's a bit distant. And she says, well, you know, the first 26 months of our life was so beautiful, and he made it abundantly clear to me then that there's nothing more important to him than being with me, that I could deal with some of these stresses. Now he's preoccupied. Gamzu yavar, this too will pass. But if you don't have that solid beginning of literally spending time together, and I'm not talking necessarily the most intimate time together, just being there, knowing that if you said, honey, someone will respond, and respond with alacrity. If you don't have that as a foundation, how are you going to draw the strength that you need? You know, it's an amazing thing that when you go on the airplane, they tell you right away, put it on airplane mode, and only later can you open it up again, if at all. And no one dies, no one freaks. For a half hour or whatever it takes, it's on airplane mode, and I don't take incoming calls. Is it really that difficult to put your phone on airplane mode for 2 hours every night? We're not talking emergencies. All of us know what we're referring to. We're referring to WhatsApp and Instagram, and nothing bad. It's all filtered. There's nothing indecent. It's just a distraction at best. But it's worse than a distraction that you haven't been utilizing your time properly. It's coming at the expense of another person who you do really care about. Now, what happens if your dear spouse is doing the same thing? Friends, we're ruining marriages, and we're ruining the potential of goodness for a stupid electronic gadget. I don't know if we have profited that much from the iPhone, but one thing I certainly could suggest, and that is when you come home, irrespective of whether you're having a family dinner or not, give yourself and actually tell your wife. And the wife should tell the husband that from 8 to 10, 6 to 8, whatever it might be, I'm not taking phone calls, and my phone is on my desk and it's on vibrate. Nothing earth-shattering has to take. So even if you're reading the newspaper and I'm reading a novel, even if you're, I don't know, doing nothing, puttering around, and she's on the phone, I'm here for you. We are sharing something together. It's called time and life. Heaven forbid that the other woman or the other man should be plastic. Friends, what I'm telling you is pretty much obvious to anyone that's actually thinking about this. It's not really a rabbi's place to necessarily say it, and I don't say it as a Jewish law, nor do I say it as a psychiatrist, which I'm not. Just simply with observation. If you realize that children will model their lives after much of what they see at home, we're also creating a tremendously dangerous precedent. That we talk to our children, we want their attention, and they're thinking, Mommy used to speak to Dad, and Dad was always on the phone. So why can't I say, I'm listening, Dad, while they're texting? I mean, people text and drive when they're not allowed to. People text and walk. Why can't I text and listen, text and respond? And the answer is because it's dangerous. When you text and drive, you get into accidents. You only give a part of your brain. So we have to model good behavior. Thank God for Shabbos. Here it's not a question of personal virtue. 25 hours of a week, we're not allowed to do this. It's forbidden to do this. And you know what? Even junkies that are always on the internet and on their phones, they manage to do it without any terrible repercussions. Well, you know something? According to the mystics, Shabbos should continue during the week. Why not make, at least in terms of your phone, give it a Shabbos atmosphere? Shalom.